Hello guys, this is Natasha from Russia and
Eric from Washington, D.C.
And today we're going to discuss why Russia is considered to be an evil empire.
Stay tuned.
You sit so much close. Thanks to all my Patreon supporters. This video was made with your support and help. And if you want to support me and our channel, follow the link below and join our community on Patreon. So today we are in the park, by the way, in front of police.
It's there.
Quite new experience for us. So much symbolic for Russia. So before making this video, I decided to ask your opinion on my Instagram, and we've got very interesting results.
So from your answers, we were able to discern 4 main reasons for why this is.
The majority of people say that it's a problem of media. That media covers Russia in all the time in bad
light.
Yeah, in a bad light.
And the next reason is historical.
And the next 2 were economic and geopolitical reasons. And the least but not the last is cultural difference. Like, you know, Russia is so mysterious that people don't understand it. So let's answer to the question today, why Russia is perceived so badly and what can we do about it? Let's start from economic and how you say, geopolitical? Geopolitical, yeah. You see, people say that when Russia makes military exercises in Russia, it's provocation. When Yankees make exercises in the Baltic Sea, nobody cares. It is normal. Russia is a threat to nobody. It's a medium-sized country which has shrunk dramatically since the fall of the Soviet Union. In Britain, Russia is a useful boogeyman to distract people from the real threat of China and Saudi Arabia. The US and the UK might use Russia as a boogeyman to cover their bullshit in their countries or find reasons to interfere somewhere else. What do you think of it? But they need to find someone to blame, or, you know, all the time there's a story about Russian programmers who interfere in US elections.
Well, it's not that it's used as a boogeyman, but it's the first thing that comes to headline for anything that comes out of Russia is usually something bad. And so if that's all that anyone sees, then...
But you know, they always, like, when there's something happens in your country, they all the time say, Russians meddled in our election. Like, if we're not gonna expand NATO and Europe, Russians will come and invade Lithuania and Poland and blah, blah, blah. That happens a lot.
I suppose. How do I put... For the Baltic states, it's a really easy fear to pry on for other people because, I mean, they have a lot of historical encounters with the former Soviet Union and, you know, being occupied, you know, by...
So that's the point.
Yeah.
It's like an easy thing. Like, Russia is easier tool to use to scare people out, like, you know, to let them vote for something or let them to vote to join NATO, for example, or something else. That's the point. That's what I'm saying. It's like a geopolitical tool.
Yeah.
So the next reason we're coming to is historical. That's what they use also for reaching their things, which is actually kind of true. You know, Russia. Like, we can see the most of comments I've got about historical reasons. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's from people from Eastern Bloc. It's Czechoslovakia, former Czechoslovakia, Moldavia, and these countries who suffered actually a lot because of Soviet decisions. It's quite understandable. It's true, you know, like Soviet Union did plenty of awful stuff at that time. Like, remember Prague Spring killed a lot of people, to be honest, without real reason for that. And there is a reason for Czechs to hate Russians, you know, and plenty of other countries. But the problem is, what I see, like people you see in my country, Slovakia, people are highly divided on their views on Russia, given that Russia did play an important role in our history, both in the good and bad sense. Many, especially the older generations, but also an increasing number of young people are viewing Russia positively, either because of the common Slavic roots or because our country territory was liberated from the Nazis with the contribution of the Red Army. So there's also division so much in the community there, as we can see. That's the funny part. None of them seriously think, though, that Russia is going to straight invade us, because it's funny shit, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, in the past history, Russia did invade other countries with their military and wanted to expand communism around the world, and many of our ancestors were put in prison in Moscow and stuff. 50 or so years ago, my parents were displaced from Czechoslovakia Czechoslovakia because Russian tanks invaded Prague. I'm not holding a grudge or anything, since the US and Europe are just as guilty of illegal wars as anyone else in the world stage. People usually don't understand it too. People try to, they can't separate the government decisions with people also. This is another problem. In Czechia, Russia is mostly portrayed as an evil, backwards country that wants us to be their puppet state. People still have this memory, negative experience from the country, and the problem, I think, that, as one person wrote here, Russia is more than her past. It's past, actually. Russia is not she.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, Mother Russia. So it's,
Yeah, in Russian language, Russia is she, actually.
Yeah.
The point is, like, I think people forget that right now Russia is a completely different country. And when one regime changes to another, it's something different. Like, we live in a completely different country right now. Russian history is quite interesting. Like, it changes every time with a new leader. Like, new leader comes and the country is completely different from how it was before. And we can see it in the history, like when it was Lenin Russia, it was one type of Russia. They had different reforms, they had different vision. And then Stalin came and it started to be absolutely different Russia. People started to live in different realities too. And it always happens like that. And when, like, you know, there was Yeltsin Russia and there's Putin Russia, which is completely different from the Yeltsin. And every time, usually,
we'll try to discredit the one before.
yeah, usually a new leader comes, the next one tries to discredit the one before. So when, you know, Khrushchev came, the first thing what happened is, like, how's it called?
The big secret meeting to denounce Stalinism altogether.
And he started to reveal a lot of facts about what was happening in the country, and they started, you know, show everything to people, how awful the previous one. So it's quite interesting. Okay, media, our favorite topic.
Yay, media. Okay, let's see. I think it's still fallout from the Cold War. The US is so influential in global news, thus has the ability to push their agenda. I used to have a negative outlook of Russia, and only until I moved here did I realize that it is completely different from how it was portrayed. So American media seems to, you know, dominate all over the world, and it's most likely that you've seen a movie that has been produced in America, and if it's had a Russian in it, it's probably been that Russian, or yeah, that group has probably been portrayed in a negative light. And it's
Mafia,
yeah,
or spies,
yeah,
or these Reds. So the US is so influential in global news, that's the point. Most of media in the world belong to big corporations, which are Americans. And we get it since, like, childhood, I think, because, you know, all your media, all your movies, everything, we watch it. And not only we, all people all over the world. What I think also people are missing when they talk about media, it's all of it American media, it's blame on them, you know, because their government, they portray Russians as boogeymen and blah blah blah. And I think the most important thing that people are missing is media represents what's in the community, the way of thought of people in the community. If it's not propaganda, that's a different thing. Media shows something that we want to watch, and that's the problem of media everywhere. In Russia, it's the same thing. They concentrate on bad points. People like to watch something bad, like how man killed his wife, or I don't know, how Putin poisoned someone. They will never search for something like the best people of Russia,
Yeah.
the heroes of Russia nowadays. They will never search for this. It's boring for them. The media shows you what you like to watch. It's not only blame on American media, it's blame on every media. And it's blame on you because this is what you like to watch.
There's a saying in America, if it bleeds, it leads, you know, as far as news coverage is concerned. So anything that's covered by Russia and is portrayed in the US, it usually focuses on the bad first. And anything that's good, you're mostly going to find that in Russian news outlets that are not really, you know, accessible within the West. So even if, you know, Russian news agencies are going to cover these things. I mean, a lot of the news agencies in Russia are state-controlled, so there's always this, you know, well, there's a lot of skepticism, you know, on, you know, well, what is the agenda, you know, of them covering it this way or that way?
It's propaganda.
Yeah, is it propaganda? So where do you find, you know, examples of good news that are credible?
By the way, the last point we missed it, cultural difference. Like in most of cases, people just don't understand because they see that the country is quite closed. We have everything not like China, not that much like China nowadays, but still, like we have our own language, which is unacceptable for you. Like all our big media channels, all our like social life, like bloggers, for example, Russian bloggers, you will never get an access to them because they speak in Russian. You will never understand like how the country lives, how people think. In most of cases, you only judge what you see in media. You can never get in touch with people themselves. These people who live here, they never get a chance to share, like, to talk, to represent their own nation and explain you things. Why Russians behave this way? Why do they, like most of the people, they think like Russians hate Putin. Like, and if you open media, you see like Russia is poisoning Navalny, all the country suffering from repressions and blah blah blah. And then people, like foreigners, they can't understand why do people vote for Putin? Why do they go and vote for this tyrant? You know? But there's a reason for that. Why do they do that? And there's nobody to talk about it. This is Lisa, she made a very good point. Like she was the only one who mentioned this, I think. I don't see Russia a country representing a geopolitical threat. What scares the mainstream media is that Russia, or more precisely Putin, always follows its own agenda and usually doesn't care about anything else.
Yeah.
So this is something also, like, you don't understand Russians, why they behave this or that way. You never know what to expect from them.
Well, a lot of it is because people kind of, they conflate Putin with the Russian people, or vice versa. Putin is supposed to be the everyman Russian, the average Russian guy, and you know, he's supposed to like kind of resonate with the average Russian, but like not all Russians are like Putin. Not all Russians like him in the first place. So
they just live with him.
They just live with him.
My entire life from age 10, I have thought Russia and USA should be the greatest of allies. I have never understood why this has not happened. It's true. Sometimes I think the relationship is like two siblings, not always in agreement, but do care about the other, but often afraid to admit they care. I do not know for sure, but yeah. I think Russia is now a more open country. So I don't see Russia as a bad country. Now I have many Russian friends and I like their culture, including their food and country. Understanding other cultures is a key in understanding the others. So this is very important. How can we change it?
The first thing you can do is separate your politics from the people. There's the Russian people and there's the American people, and they're separate from politics.
Another thing I think, what can we do is maybe we must push on our governments a little bit, create some kind of associations and exchange on, not on political level, but on cultural level. Like we can create movies together. I think the third thing is like, yeah, we need to get a representation of Russians on the media, on international stage. And the problem is right now, like we have whether very negative ones, which are like only opposition, or propaganda ones that show only everything is perfect, and which is completely not true too. So there should be more people who are representing. Okay, I'm one of them. Okay. I need to get an access to your media, big ones, go to America and say the word. My fellow Americans, I came here to spread the word of good mother Russia to you. The next one is, of course, traveling, but nowadays we can't travel, unfortunately. But soon I hope it's gonna be available. You will go and you'll figure out that there are so many things that you would never learn if you stay home.
Don't get stuck in Russia. Try it.
What else we can do?
Be open to learning new things. That's just the first step. Without that, then you're at a loss for everything.
So that was our experience and the point of view of my Instagram family. Do you see any other reasons why Russia is portrayed as bad guy? Leave it in the comments. And if you want to help us to fight Russophobia, like this video, share it with your friends.
And subscribe to the channel.
So thank you for watching this video.
See you soon.
And пока-пока.
Bye. What?
See you soon and пока-пока.
okay.
Господи, we say the same shit every time.
I don't know.